Hi, welcome to Rick Snyder's Washington, where you get the best stories here on YouTube. And I've been told by the experts to say, like, subscribe, and share these stories. Somehow that makes YouTube algorithm work better. But anyway, today's story, Sam Huff, my hero. People ask me all the time, about covering the team. And I grew up in Washington, so, I've been watching this team since Lombardi came in '69. And I have my personal favorites. It's different covering a team as a reporter because you have to put some things aside. But my boyhood heroes were mostly the '70s teams. And I have to say, covering a team, one of the coolest parts of it is getting to know these guys. And Sam Huff and Sonny Jurgensen, two great guys. Billy Kilmer, Fisher, Hamburger. I met all of these guys over the years. It was cool. It was really cool. But one of the guys I'm going to talk about today, Sam Huff, is one of my heroes. I think because we both value the hard work so much. My funniest story about Sam, one day we're in Frostburg, probably mid-90s, and it's the afternoon and it used to be the dorms to the lunch cafeteria to the field, sort of in a straight line. And there was a big grassy field in between the dorms and the cafeteria. So your life was basically 200 yards. Well, I'm coming back from eating lunch after morning practice, heading to the dorm, and I see Sam laying in the ground, face up. And I'm thinking, what's going on there? And I get to him, he's not moving. His eyes are closed, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Sam's had a heart attack or something. So I run over there as fast as I can. Sam, you okay? And he opens his eyes and looks at me and goes, yeah. I'm like, what the hell are you doing on the ground? Oh, I'm just taking a nap. What? We didn't have anywhere else to go. He was just up there visiting. Like, Sam, come up to my dorm room. I got an extra bed. You can sleep there if you want. Don't be laying on the ground. But see, that's what Sam was like. He was just a hardworking, basic kind of guy. Came from the West Virginia. His family was coal miners. He knew what hard work was and what, living lean was like. And that's why he became a ball player, because he wanted to escape that life. So laying on the ground to him, no big deal to him. You got other players bringing in their own mattresses and all this other stuff to the dorm. And Sam's laying on the ground. Scared the hell out of me. Anyway, Sam was a New York Giants linebacker, really great fame in the 1950s, early 60s. And then he's traded to Washington, which he did not want to do. Matter of fact, he told me that Coach Alex Sherman, he heard the rumors. He goes to Sherman and says, am I being traded? Sherman says, nah, don't worry about it. Sam goes to lunch. By the time he's over at lunch, somebody says, Sam, you've been traded. And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes back and they say, yeah, you've been traded. Wait a minute, I was just here like 20 minutes ago. He really hated Alex Sherman for that to today. I mean, he still hates Alex Sherman over that. I don't know if it was about being lied to or what, but he loved New York City. That said, when he came to Washington in 1964, same year Jergy came, he would be around 5 years at the end of his career. And they wanted him for his hard scrabble approach. I mean, Sam would knock you into tomorrow or yesterday, whatever, man. Sam was all about physical, playing hard. I don't know too many players really like him today. There's a few, but, not many guys could keep up with Sam on a field on there, including one guy named Don Looney, who, like his name, was Looney. And he was so wild that they actually paid Sam extra to room with them during training camp. And Sam would tell me the guy was crazy. He'd be bouncing off walls all night while Sam's trying to sleep, and they really had a testy relationship. So one day on the field, Don Looney cheap shot Sam Huff, and Sam next play buries him on that field, and then said, I'm not rooming with this guy anymore. I mean, Looney was so crazy that one time the team bus was ready to go, and Looney, for some reason, wasn't around. And Sam said, leave him. And they're like, we can't leave him. He says, hell, we can't. And they did. I mean, that was Sam, man. No prisoners on all this stuff. Sam loved Lombardi. He came back for his last year to play for Lombardi because he knew what a great coach he was, and he would work him hard. So he always praised Lombardi. That was always his big thing. And he would joke that Sonny would actually be in shape if he played for Lombardi more than a year, which Sonny would always look at him and kind of go, ha, 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 something like that. The two of them would sit and hold court Sunday mornings on road trips in the hotel lobby before games. And, man, it was one of the special things to be part of that. I got to, now and then, there'd be some of the old-timers who were around the team, and I was a beat writer back then. And they would just tell story after story. I mean, you would pay to go sit there and listen to these things. They were always like that. When Sam finished football, he went and worked for Marriott Corporation. He had the idea that they could start catering to sports teams and sell hotel rooms and traveling, because you got to stay somewhere. And he actually did very well with that. But Sam told me his football training actually hurt him for a while, because he said, my icy stare on these business executives would intimidate them too much. I'm used to settling it on a football field, being frank and open and direct about things, and they're kind of like, woo, so he had to learn to tone it down a little bit. It was quite something. Sam also saved the West Virginia horse racing industry. I really believe that, because he loved thoroughbred racing. He had horses. Sam and I saw many a big race together over the years, Triple Crowns. He had a horse racing show for years and he basically got the big sponsorship. Maryland has something called the Maryland Million, which is a big race for state-bred, state-sired horses. Yes, state-sired, I'm sorry. So your stallions in Maryland, and if the progeny can run just on this card for a lot of money. And he decided, and it's very successful in Maryland. They've had it around like 25 years now. And Sam's thought, we can do that in West Virginia. Why not? And West Virginia basically was raced in Charlestown and what they call nickel claimers, which is you could buy a horse that was racing there for $5,000. I mean, it was considered the end of the line. And Sam created that day to really help bring some strength to the breeding industry, which has a lot of jobs. Horse has to have some, farm to live on, got to have people take care of it. There's a lot of jobs in horse racing. And so Sam created that and helped get, casinos eventually came to Charlestown. And now it's really more of a casino than a horse track, but they run for a lot of money in Charlestown. The racing has gone great guns and doing very well, thanks to people like Sam on there. A few years ago, Sam finally left his job doing the, game analysis with Sonny. The Sonny, Sam, and Frank years. Those were some of the best. All three guys were terrific. Frank Herzog couldn't be a nicer man. Living in retirement down in Carolina now. Sonny now is retiring. He's down in Naples, Florida. And Sam lives in Middleburg, Virginia, where he's lived for a long time. It's no secret that he's having memory problems. And I'll kind of leave it at that, because I think that's his business, not ours. But I wish him well. Last time I saw Sam was several years ago. About broke my hand, shaking it. We had a good time together. I wish my friend all the success in his remaining years. It's a tough story that goes along with that. Anyway, that's my stories from Sam Huff. I'll probably tell some more over time. He was really one of the great ones. Like I said, covering his team, I've looked back at it now. I've been around the team since '83 in some capacity. I really have learned to appreciate what it's meant in my life. Even my biorhythms, how I write, revolve around locker room times. And Tuesdays was a day off I had as a beat writer. I still can't get anything done on Tuesdays, even though I don't go out there every day like I used to. So football has meant a lot to me. And guys like Sam showed me work hard, try and win every single day of your life. So I'm Rick Snyder for Rick Snyder's Washington. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.